Okay, let's dive into something that is quietly but completely reshaping our world. Industry 4.0. Now, this isn't just about faster factories or fancier robots. We're talking about the fourth great industrial revolution. And believe me, it's changing everything, from the car you drive to the food on your plate. But before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's start with a really big question, one that gets to the very heart of this whole thing. What if we could actually grow our economy without constantly using up more of the planet's resources? Just let that sink in for a second. And keep that question in mind because it is the key to everything we're about to talk about. All right, so to really get a grip on where we're going, we've got to look back at where we've been. You see, the story of modern industry is really a story in four acts, four massive, world-changing revolutions. So revolution number one, that was sparked by steam and water power, giving us our first machines. Then, boom, Industry 2.0 hits, lit up by electricity, and suddenly we have mass production and assembly lines. The third revolution, maybe the one we're most familiar with, ran on computers and electronics, which brought us automation. And that brings us to today, Industry 4.0. This is the era of smart factories, where the physical world and the digital world are actually merging into what we call cyber-physical systems. Now, what's so different this time around? Well, this quote from our source material absolutely nails it. See, all the previous revolutions were basically about one thing, making more stuff faster. But this one? This one offers something totally new. It's the potential to finally decouple our economic growth from our environmental footprint. So, how does this all actually work? What's under the hood of Industry 4.0? Well, it's really built on a few incredibly powerful, interconnected technologies. Let's break down the pillars that make this whole thing stand up. First up, we have the Internet of Things, or IoT. The best way to think of this is like a digital nervous system for the physical world. It's this massive web of connected devices. Sensors, cameras, motors, you name it, all constantly gathering and sharing data about what's happening in the real world. And of course, when you have billions of devices all talking at once, they generate an unbelievable amount of information. That's where big data comes in. It's the raw fuel for Industry 4.0. But all that data is just noise unless you have a way to make sense of it, right? To find the hidden patterns inside. And that is where this comes in, artificial intelligence. AI is the brain of the operation. It's what sifts through those mountains of big data, learns from it, and turns all that raw information into smart, actionable decisions. It's the engine that powers the whole smart factory. And finally, none of it would be practical or affordable without cloud computing. The cloud is the powerful, flexible backbone that provides all the storage and processing power you need right when you need it. It's what makes this whole revolution accessible to pretty much everyone. So what happens when you combine that IoT nervous system, that fuel of big data, that AI brain, and that cloud backbone? You don't just get a slightly better factory. No, you get something completely, fundamentally new. And this just lays it out perfectly. We are moving away from that old school, top-down, centralized model where everything was rigid. The new way? It's decentralized. We're talking about equipment that controls itself, processes that can change on the fly, and the ability to produce what you need, when you need it, wherever you need it. And what this new system really gives us is, well, it's kind of like a superpower, total awareness. For the very first time, we can know three critical things about pretty much any asset, anywhere. Where is it? What condition is it in? And is it available right now? This complete visibility is the secret sauce to unlocking just incredible efficiency. Which brings us right back to that big question we started with. How does knowing all this stuff help us grow without using more resources? Well, it makes a true circular economy possible, and it does it through three main strategies. The first strategy is all about slowing down our resource loops. This is just a fancy way of saying, let's make things last a lot longer. With sensors monitoring a machine, AI can actually predict when a part is going to fail before it even happens. That's predictive maintenance, and it keeps things running way, way longer. Second, we can narrow the loops. This means doing more with less. Plain and simple. Smart factories can tweak their energy use second by second, and technologies like 3D printing build things layer by layer, which means you only use the material you absolutely need. Almost zero waste. And finally, the holy grail, closing the loops. And this isn't just about better recycling bins. This is about designing waste out of the system from the very beginning. By tracking a product and all its materials from start to finish, we can make sure that an old phone doesn't just end up in a landfill. It becomes the raw material for the next one. So, when you put all these pieces together, the history, the tech, the strategy, you can really start to see the incredible potential we have sitting right in front of us. The tools for a truly radical transformation, they're already here. Because at its core, Industry 4.0 isn't really about the robots or the data. It's about giving us the foundation, the tools, to build a world that is smarter, way more efficient, and just fundamentally more sustainable than anything we've ever managed to build before. And that leaves us with one last, really critical question. The tools aren't science fiction anymore. They are here. They are real. The challenge isn't about the technology anymore. It's a challenge of imagination and of will. So, how are we going to choose to build with it?